Hey everyone, Mah-Dry-Bread here. Pokemon White 2 with only one slacking was a really unique solo run. Let's follow that up with something new. Today's the day that we figure out, would I be able to beat Pokemon X with a team of only one Snubbull? This was gonna be last week, but I'll let you know why it got changed at the very end of the video. Check it out, it's my first time doing a solo run with a fairy type. So Snubbull in Gen 6 is now a fairy type, and other than that interesting little change, it's still not great. High attack, but it's bad at just about everything else, with its low speed being an obvious issue. Move-wise, it doesn't learn much by level up. Yeah, it has the elemental fangs, but because it's not in the last 4 moves that it would have by level 5, you won't start with any of them. Bite's a decent move, and I like Headbutt, but other than that, it's mostly just Play Rough that has potential. For TMs, we have a ton of variety, but a lot of these are special moves, and we aren't going to be very great with them. Going heavily into physical attacks is probably our path to victory, if a victory is even possible. Maybe Earthquake, Play Rough, Power Up Punch, and Bite? Not totally sure yet. Like always, I'm writing the script as I go through with the challenge, so this part is being written before I've started. Everyone comment down below and guess if I can win or not. I'm probably not beating the Elite Four, but I'll be happy if I can just make it that far. Let's explain the rules. In combat, I can only use Snubbull. I'll need other Pokemon to use HMs, but I won't be allowed to use any of those Pokemon in battle. No glitches or exploits, no items in battle, only Pokeballs, held items, and items outside of combat are allowed. Also, if you enjoy the video, be sure to like, subscribe, and ring the bell for more. Let's do this. So right off the bat, use the Universal Pokemon Randomizer to replace Chespin with Snubbull so that we can do the whole run with it. I name him Davy Boy, like last time. Our nature is Adamant, so more attack and less special attack. Probably the perfect nature for us. We even got Intimidate, the better ability. This is the very first one we got. I have no idea what the IVs are, but it might be a pretty solid Snubbull. So I'm gonna be honest, just looking at the gyms, I don't know if anything is gonna be easy. This is my first time doing a run with a fairy type, so far as I can remember, and I don't see how it's gonna help us very much. There's no Dark or Dragon gyms, and the only gym that we resist is the Bug gym, which is already the first gym. There's a Fighting gym, so at least we have the advantage there. There's a Dragon Elite 4 member, but she also has a Poison type, and we're weak to that. And we're weak to Steel, so the Steel Elite 4 member might be a brick wall. Either in that, we're just a slow, frail Pokemon with decent attack. I could see us getting stuck on that Rock gym for ages because of it. This very well might be the hardest Pokemon X challenge I've ever done. Maybe Lysander won't be too bad, but who knows. Ouch. I get to the Bug gym, the easiest one in the game, and it's a gym that we resist, and yet we lose twice in a row to being overpowered by Infestation, a bug move. You know, it's cool that we get some flinch moves, but us being so slow isn't really doing us any favors. We can't get a flinch if we don't attack first, so I guess I gotta grind. So I grinded up to level 15, and this fight was insanely close. A crit right off the bat knocked out Surskit, so it was all down to us versus Vivillon. She used Infestation a turn later than normal, but it's because she was using a Harden, so it still isn't great. We traded shots for a while, and in the end we only had 5 health left when we knocked her out. If I didn't get the crit on Surskit or the Vivillon fight went even slightly different, then we would have fainted. Next is Sycamore with a Gen 1 starter, and we actually could have lost this despite being a much higher level. The Bulbasaur at the start used Leech Seed, and because of that we needed an extra hit on Squirtle to make him faint. Plus, Charmander got us with Smokescreen, so we easily could have missed and lost because of that. But we didn't, so it was a first try. Before we go to the Rock Gym, we of course need to get our Gen 1 starter. Hey, what's your favorite Gen 1 starter? Chespin, Gothita, or Rhyhorn? I think I'm gonna have to go with Rhyhorn on this one. Rhydon is pretty much the original Pokemon, or at least very close to it, so it really makes me think of Gen 1. Now let's go lose to the Rock Gym. On our way there, though, I took the Jaw Fossil. I knew that if I didn't say what I took, you'd all ask. Actually, now that I think about it, everyone ask anyway. Comments are good for the YouTube algorithm. Well, I'm grinding. You might be wondering why you didn't see me lose at the Rock Gym Leader first, and that's because we got absolutely destroyed by the first trainer in the Rock Gym. We're about the same level that they are, and Bite is our best move that they don't resist, and it does almost nothing. Being so slow really doesn't do us any favors either. It's not even easy to grind, since a lot of the trainers outside of the gym can beat us too. It won't surprise me at all if I need to start using rare candies at some point before we beat this gym, just because it's taking so long. I'm still crazy sick while I record this challenge, by the way, so the time that I can put into this is a little bit limited. I wish I could go learn a better move, but all the good stuff isn't until well after this gym, so we might just have to roll with what we've got. I genuinely think we're not winning this fight until close to level 40. Future MDB here doing the voiceover, I'm good now. I'm barely sniffling, and I haven't coughed in a couple days, so I think I'm finally fine. I got an eye infection right after I got sick, but I've been taking medicated eye drops, and my eye is nearly 100%. So I'm finally over my million illnesses in a row. Okay, maybe it wasn't a million, maybe it was 2, but still, that doesn't happen very often, does it? So after fighting all the trainers in the northern route, I got to level 30 and tried the rock gym. Between the Rocky Helmet and Bite doing decent damage, we actually made the first Pokemon faint and got to fight Tyrunt. Although, being slower from the rock tombs does mean that his stomps can flinch us. We didn't flinch on this try, and even did decent damage, but he was hitting us really hard and we couldn't last long. You know what though, that went better than I was expecting. I'm starting to think that I could win this at level 35. So I got to level 35, and this still took several tries because we now just get paralyzed at the start. And because Tyrunt spams Stomp, we just often flinch or are fully paralyzed and miss a bunch of chances to bite as a result. But after a few tries, we got this one where we got just enough bites in to get the knockout. I have to say, it wasn't easy, but it was still better than I thought it was gonna be. Well, now we're on the move, and we've got a couple of rival fights, as well as the fighting gym and the grass gym. I guess the fighting gym is probably going to be easy since we're good against fighting types, and we should be learning Play Rough pretty soon. And the rival fight might be easy as well, but I'm not really sure about the grass gym. Leech Seed is still a dangerous move that I could see causing us issues. That said, we're going to have leftovers by then, so maybe I've got nothing to worry about. I'm actually just excited for when we learn Play Rough, because it's the only fair move. I wrote that wrong. Because it's the only fairy move that we can learn that we're actually good with. It's only 90 accuracy, but the high power helps make it worth using anyway. It should be our strongest move this whole run, so let's get that and see how the fight goes. Well, this isn't how I thought the first rival fight would go. We always take a good amount of damage from Meowstic at the start, normally a really weak Pokemon. We easily one-shot Absol right after with Play Rough, but then Braixen comes out and takes us out easily thanks to us being so slow. I'm actually gonna have to level up more for this. Maybe I can buy the TM for Dig and win that way. Alright, next try, and this time we have Dig. We actually came incredibly close to losing thanks to missing Play Rough on Absol the first time, but thankfully, Dig hit hard enough to one-shot Braixen, so we did manage to win. I'm a little worried about how that rival fight will go after the fighting gym, but at least we have leftovers by then. As expected, the fighting gym was pretty easy. Just a sweep, and we were actually faster than some of her team too. No issues. Next is our rival again, but it's pretty easy this time. We're a much higher level, and Dig is still strong enough to take out her biggest threat easily. The grass gym didn't go exactly how I thought it would. It turns out that Leech Seed isn't the real threat. It's Weepinbell using Acid near the end. We lost on the first try thanks to us missing a Play Rough and giving him too many chances to hit us, but on the second try we were able to win just thanks to us not missing. Still, we take a lot of damage from those poison moves. Alright, I'm actually pretty worried about the next major fight. We have an electric gym coming up, and he's got a steel type. I don't remember if he actually has any steel moves, but I know that we're going to get paralyzed and we might not be doing much damage. I'm hoping that Dig can carry us through at least some of that fight. Then there's the rival and the fairy gym. Both of those I'm not all too worried about. The fairy gym seems to be easy every time, and our rival wasn't that bad last time. That said, I do remember that the fairy gym has him a while, and that's also steel type, so I guess it could be a problem. I'm not really sure. I feel like I'm not sure about a lot of these fights, to be honest. It's a combo of being a type that I'm not really used to using, and us being really slow. Being slow is really a massive handicap in solo runs. Alright, well this isn't how I thought it was gonna go at all. Right away, Emolga Volt switched while we were using Dig, so we went underground, then hit Magneton as he was setting up Electric Train. We then hit Headbutt while he was using a Hyper Potion, then outsped him, and we digged to dodge his attack and take him out without having to worry about a second Sturdy kicking in. That was a great start. Heliolisk is next, and although we one-shot him, we took massive damage from Thunderbolt. I thought I might faint when Emolga came back in, but we hardly held on from Volt Switch and one-shot him with Play Rough. That was a great fight! Right after that was our rival, but it was crazy easy. Same as before, Bite for Meowstic, Play Rough for Absol, and Dig for Delphox. Guys, history has been made, for I have finally failed at the Fairy Gym. tried the fight several times, but no matter what, the Mawile is easy, but the Mr. Mime always opens with Reflect, and due to the Hyper Potion, we never actually get it to faint before we get taken out by Psychic Spam. I actually need to get stronger to beat the Fairy Gym, although it might not take that long. Just being a little bit stronger or faster might win this for us. So I got to level 60 when I remembered that, oh yeah, Fairy doesn't resist Fairy, so I can just take Mr. Mime out easily with Play Rough. The problem is that I take it out so fast that Reflect is still up when Sylveon comes out, so we easily get taken out by it instead. Not only that, but between Cute Charm and her using Charm to lower our attack, we never get anywhere close to winning, even when we delay things to get there when Reflect is done. It's such a weird fight. I actually do need to get stronger. Well, this isn't what I expected. I tried the fight more at level 65, and I kept trying to time out our digs so that we could take out Mr. Mime as Reflect wore off, but I kept messing it up. I thought this would be another failed run, as another Reflect went up right before Sylveon came out, but we crit to just get a one-shot anyway. Hey, I'll take it. Alright, we're coming up on some fights that I'm really interested in. There's a rival who probably won't be that bad again, the Psychic Gym that might be interesting but probably not all that hard, then the Lysander fights. Now those are what I'm interested in. I actually think we might have a really easy time in all three of them. I remember that he's got a fighting type and a fire type, both Pokemon that we usually are able to handle pretty easily. Then in the final fight, he's gonna Mega Evolve Water Onix into a Dragon type, and that's another type that we're strong against. There's a very good chance that we're gonna have the easiest Lysander fights yet, despite being in a run where we're using a slow and weak Pokemon. I shouldn't get too overconfident though. You never really know how it's gonna go until you get to the fight. Well, first is the rival fight, and although we can one-shot most of our team, that Delphox hits for crazy damage with Psychic. We nearly fainted because of it. I'm starting to think that that last rival fight of the game might actually be the one that we have to level up for. Who knows though, I'll have a bit better moves by then. Next is the Psychic Gym, and when you look at this first try, Sigalith is faster than us and uses Reflect and hits pretty hard with Psychic, but we get it stuck in a Hyper Potion loop before we crit a bite on the last turn of Reflect to make it faint. Slowking right after is slower than us, and thus we have a pretty easy time taking it out without getting hurt too bad. And last is Meowstic, so I thought we'd be fine. Problem is, we missed Play Rough and ended up fainting after bringing her to a sliver of health. It was tragic. So I try again and think that this really isn't gonna work because Sigalith puts up a fresh Reflect right before it fainted. That means I had to use Dig a ton to waste time against Slowking and ended up with less health by the time we got to Meowstic. But thanks to her using Calm Mind and then not being able to finish us off with Psychic, we got a 2-shot-and-1. Not at all how I thought this fight would go. Alright, first Lysander fight, and it goes wrong so fast. Yeah, his Mindfu is a one-shot, but I didn't realize that Water Onix has Iron Head, so we easily got 2-shot. I'm gonna have to level up a bit before we can win this one. Alright, this is shaping up to be a major problem. At level 75, we can survive a few Iron Heads to get the knockout, and as long as we don't miss against Murkrow, it's a one-shot, but last is Pyroar, and it's way faster than us, and easily finishes us off every single time because our health is so low even with leftovers. I might actually have to level up a lot before we can win all these Lysander fights. I was wrong to think this might be easy. So I had to try several more times at level 80 because a single miss of Play Rough or a flinch from Iron Head makes us lose. But eventually, we got to the end again, hardly survived the Fire Blast, and got the win. That was just the first Lysander fight though. There's 2 more coming up, and I don't know how we're gonna win without hitting a way higher level. Now the second Lysander fight really surprised me. Despite us only having gained about 2 levels, we're now faster than Water Onix and can win a lot faster as a result. We still take a ton of damage over the course of the fight, and would have lost if we had missed a single Play Rough, but I didn't have to grind out a ton of attempts like the first Lysander fight. I'm sure the last one could be rough though. Last Lysander fight time, and although the entire first part of the fight went basically the same as before, the Mega Water Onix at the end was close. We nearly one-shot it with Play Rough, it nearly one-shots us with Iron Head, then we finish it off. Weirdly enough, the first Lysander fight was actually the hardest one. With that done, we're actually getting close to the Elite Four. We've got the fight with Sycamore, with our friends on the bridge, then it's the Ice Gym and our rival. I think our rival might be the only really tough one of those fights, but you never know. Sometimes fighting the friends on the bridge is harder than expected. Now, when I'm on my way to Victory Road, I'm going to pick up the TM for Earthquake, but I actually don't know if I'm going to use that yet. It's not much stronger than Dig in this game, and at least with Dig we can heal more with leftovers and buy more time if we have to. TMs are reusable in this game though, so I can swap between them if I need to. I know I'm gonna need a good ground move for the Fire Elite 4 member for sure. First is Sycamore, and his only Pokemon that probably could have messed us up used Worry Seed instead of literally anything dangerous, so it was an easy first try. Next is our friends on the bridge, and although we got beaten up pretty badly in that second fight from one random move hitting pretty hard, it was pretty much just an easy sweep outside of that. Well, this blew my mind. I tried the Ice Gym several times, and although we always breeze our way through the first couple Pokemon, Avalugg would just destroy us. Either he spams Curse for absolute ages and becomes basically invincible, or he would use Avalanche right away and take us out. I think I'm gonna have to learn Power-Up Punch, and maybe that'll save us. Alright, thankfully that Power-Up Punch totally did save us. We still took a ton of damage, and could have easily knocked ourselves out thanks to getting confused at one point, but it only took a couple of tries to win since learning it. I figured that move might save me at some point. Well, last rival fight, and right away, we one-shot the Meowstic with Play Rough after taking a hit from Psychic, then one-shot Delphox with Earthquake after getting hit by yet another Psychic, so our health was pretty low. Jolteon got us with Discharge before we Earthquaked it down, so I figured our health might be too low to get a win. But next is Altaria, who we outsped and one-shot with Play Rough. Last is Absol, but it just used Swords Dance, so we one-shot it with Play Rough. That really wasn't that bad. Now that we're the Elite Four, let's take a look at our stats. Well, our attack is pretty solid, and so is our health, but outside of that, I'm a bit worried. I do love that our speed is much higher than I expected it to be, but I still don't really see us beating the Elite Four. I'm not overly worried about most of them, but I just don't see how we're beating Wickstrom. I have some moves that could work well against Steel types, but I don't think I'm one-shotting most of them, and their Steel moves are very quickly going to overpower us. I'm going to say that I can beat all of the Elite Four except for Wickstrom. I think I'll replace Headbutt with Return just so we have a stronger normal move, and then give this a try. Make your final guesses on if we can win this or not. Let's do this. First is Fire Trainer Malva. Alright, well first try and we take massive damage from Hyper Voice before one-shotting Pyroar with Earthquake, but second is Talonflame, so we can't just use Earthquake again. We took huge damage off Brave Bird, hit pretty hard with Return, she healed back up, then hit us again for the knockout. I don't like how that went, but I don't think this is hopeless. Let's max out our levels since we're almost there anyway. If we end up faster, then I think we could win. So after failing the fight a few times due to leaving Talonflame with a sliver of health off Return, we ended up critting to take it down. Tarkle was of course a one-shot with Earthquake, but after that is Chandelure, and we really easily fainted to Flamethrower. Alright, that's a pretty bad situation, but you can do these Elite Four fights in any order. I'll try the other ones and see what happens. Second is Water Trainer Cybold. Clydsar takes a couple of tries because it usually survives, but on the third try, it's a one-shot. And next is Water Onix, who uses Dragon Dance and a Waterfall for decent damage, but it's also a two-shot. Barbarnacle is thankfully a one-shot with Earthquake, and last is Starmie, who hits pretty hard and gets us to red health, but we just hardly two-shot it with Bite. Hey, at least we can beat one of them. Third is Dragon Trainer Drasna. Thankfully, this fight was actually really easy. Even after we flinched and got crit, we still easily won by hitting Play Rough 4 times. Considering I don't think I'm winning the next fight though, that might be our last win. Fourth is Steel Trainer Wickstrom. Yeah, this one wasn't even close. We one-shot Klefki, then Scizor really easily just hit Iron Head to take our health low, then Bullet Punched out Speedos and finish us off. I don't think we stand a chance there. Maybe I'll go try the Malva fight a few more times and just see if I can figure out a path to winning that one. Alright, so what you're watching right now is just me trying the fight over and over. So I noticed that sometimes Pyroar uses Noble Roar at the start, a totally useless move against us. That leaves us with a lot more health, but the problem is we still need a ton of luck to take out Talonflame without taking a ton of damage. We almost never one-shot it, and because it spams potions to hold on longer, we usually end up getting burned by Flame Body. If we get burned, then the fight is over, our attack is way too low to get past anything. But even the many times that we did manage to get past it without getting burned, we always faint to Chandelure. Sometimes it uses Shadow Ball and sometimes it uses Flamethrower, but we can't survive either of them. Maybe if we had the luck of Pyroar using Noble Roar, Talonflame using his weakest move, and us critting and not getting burned all in the same run, then we could possibly get to Chandelure with enough health to survive. But in tons of attempts, I never got that to happen. It's probably just too lucky to have happen within a reasonable amount of time. Plus, even if I could pull it off, I would just get stuck on Wickstrom again right after. I'm happy I even got this far. I think it's time that I call it and start recording next week's challenge. I have to say, this does make me want to do more runs with fairy types. We used a really weak one, and it went reasonably well overall. So I'm curious if I could win the run with a slightly stronger fairy type. I really hope you guys like that run. The next Pokemon challenge should be up next week on Saturday like usual, with something done from a Patreon poll. I don't know which one yet. Which I said in the end of the previous video too, didn't I? You'll know why in a second. As always, I'm looking at your suggestions in the comments in the challenge quest section of my Discord channel and on Twitter. Subscribe, ring the bell, stay tuned. Outro time. Okay, if you listened to the outro a few weeks ago, I said the next one was X with Snubbull, but instead, it was Pokemon Heart Gold with Eevee, which was last week's video. How did that happen? And then in that one, I said next week's one is a Patreon pull one, but it wasn't a Patreon pull one. That's the one that's the week after this one. How did this happen? Well, this is the first time this has ever happened. This was actually really funny. So I started the Eevee run not on the Monday that I normally would, but I started it on the Sunday, the day before, just because I had some extra time. And I ended up beating that run pretty quickly. I beat it between the Sunday and the Monday. And normally what I do is every week I'm playing one Pokemon run, and I'm editing the previous week's Pokemon run, right? That makes sense. So I actually got the Eevee run done really early in the week. And obviously the Snubbull run was already done from the week before, and the Snubbull one was the one I was going to voice over and edit that week. Then I spent a few days streaming a whole lot of Nuzlocke stuff and working on other stuff. So when it got to the time where I decided later in the week, oh, it's time to do the voiceover and get the editing done so that this can go up on Patreon and the YouTube memberships and all of that stuff, I thought I had to do the Eevee one because I finished it so early in the week, it just felt like it was last week's run. So I literally do the voiceover, I do the entire edit, I make the thumbnail, I start uploading it to Patreon and to YouTube. And when I'm on YouTube and I'm setting the date for it, right? So you set a date, you set it for like early access for members, and then you get to pick the date that it goes public for everybody. And right before I set the date, I was like, oh, I think it's the 14th, but I'll double check my Trello page. I go on my Trello page where I organize my challenge runs, and it says Eevee's on the 21st. And I was like, oh. And then it said on the 14th was X with Snubbull. And I had a moment where I was like, well, wait a minute. I remember recording that. I just recorded that recently, but like I haven't edited that yet, have I? And I look at my footage on my computer and I look at the dates it was all recorded, and I realized what I did. This is the first time I've ever done that, where I accidentally edited and recorded the voiceover and all that stuff for the challenge I did this week rather than the one I did the previous week, because I got it done so early in the week, and then I spent a few days working on other Pokemon stuff that I just forgot which one I was editing this week. And so, because of that, I decided, well, I have a little bit of extra time at the end of this week. I'm gonna do this voiceover and do this whole edit today, so I just get 2 done in 2 days like that. And that means that this video, for those of you who are Patreon supporters and YouTube members, you're getting this video 2 entire weeks early. I hope you enjoy that. Speaking of the Patreon and the YouTube, the $50 supporter shout-out tier. Thank you so much, Jacob Busby, Javid Kusro, Grayson Fitz, Tara Louise, Alexandra Hedgeblog, Joel Mann, Dark Soul, Young Smoky VP, Cal Anderson, and Crystal Sunrise. Thank you so much for your continued support. Hey, because I have this edit done a little bit early, that means I have a little bit more time next week, which is perfect for me because tomorrow, the day after I'm recording this voiceover, which, I mean, by the time this video goes public, this series will probably already be public, but me and some of my friends are getting together. I'm going to be recording my first ever full Let's Play of Pokemon Ultra Moon. I haven't done Gen 7 yet. I only played a little bit of it several years ago, never came anywhere close to beating the game. We're going to be doing the whole game. It's going to be Pokemon Ultra Moon, a journey, just like I did Pokemon Platinum, a journey, and Pokemon X, a journey. I think it was X, not Y. I think it was X. where I play the whole game with my friends, have a fun time, do it nice and slow, talk to all the NPCs and everything, really explore the world, goof off a lot, get Pokemon that I just really like and play for fun and stuff. It's just a great long-form time, me hanging out with my friends. If you're a YouTube or Patreon member, then you're probably seeing this video before I've recorded that. But if you're watching this and the video has already gone public for everybody, that series is probably already up on the channel right now. You can find it in the video section, or more likely, you'll find it in the playlist section. Now, I'm hoping I'll have more time next week to edit that, as well as to do more of the Nuzlocke streaming. Because streaming my first ever Nuzlocke like I've been doing recently has been really fun, and you can find all of that here on this very YouTube channel. I gotta go get this edited now so that those people can watch it the 2 weeks early. Thank you everybody so much for watching, and until next time, have a nice day.